Hey, this is Drake here. I was going to come back with another First Descendant video. I don't know, everybody's probably tired of bunny builds by now, and it's not really a bunny build. I just found that I was having a lot of trouble clearing Molten Fortress because of his immunity phase requirements. If you haven't gotten there yet, it's pointing the pillars all in the same direction. I think to the right. I'm not sure if it'll work to the left, but I always did it to the right. But the problem is just defending the towers from the orbs. That if they hit them, they reset them. You have to wait for a cooldown the whole time. Everybody's dying. It just winds up being a mess, really. And there's 6 towers and only 4 players, so 2 people have to cover 2, or else one's just getting all-time reset. So, I mean, absolute best build is, unlimited rocket launcher Galay, who can just vaporize all the orbs before they even come out of Molten Fortress, so everyone else can just focus on the tower. But as many times as I tried it, I never saw anyone come in with that build, and I didn't really want to make it myself, so I just modified Ultimate Bunny. And actually it wound up making it a whole lot easier. And I just go over, and I thought I'd put that there because I know I was struggling, and everyone I joined in was struggling too. It's just so hard to adjust the towers and then defend 2 towers with just a gun when there's so many molten orbs hitting them. But basically what I went for was just maximize range. Now 200% is max. If I had a reactor with skill effect range roll on it, it would be almost max, but I found this was enough. And what this puts it up to is your range is at 25.8 meters. And what that allows is, as long as you're jumping underneath the lava orbs, your lightning emission will kill 90% of them for you. So you can very easily defend 2 towers by yourself while everybody else just works on the other ones. And possibly can defend 3, but it gets a little hard. But I mean, the build is just mainly, and I'll go over my other ones, but this is just basically one I put together just specifically to beat Molten Fortress. And when I put it together, I beat it, I think, on the 2nd try. Now, it does depend a lot on the team, but I mean, you'll go from feeling like it's a struggle to feeling like you're carrying the team once you swap over to this. Now, of course, you have to have high voltage. This changes your lightning emission to the lightning bolts rather than the wave, which means they can target things above you. And also it increases the range and the power of it, but we're not really going for power. As you can see, we're losing a little skill modifier on this. I was simply going for survivability and range and as much power as we could squeeze in. So we got high voltage, and I'll try not to hover over these too much. We've got skill expansion, and basically we run 2 skill expansions. These 2 are here are skill range, which give us our 186.7%. Now we're losing 20% modifier, but like I said, we really don't care because Molten Fortress isn't that hard of a boss fight. It's just his immunity phase that really makes it an aggravating fight. And now we're running the singular specialist for as much singular power as possible, because our air lightning emission is a singular skill. And I actually chunked another HP mod on this one just to make it more survivable. So, we're getting a 452.5% HP boost, because Molten Fortress does hit pretty hard if you get caught in one of the lava towers or whatever they are. And we also went electric specialist for as much electric skill power. And in skill extension, I find 1 skill extension is enough that you have 100% uptime. As you can see, our cooldown is 22 seconds, but our duration is 27 seconds. So more than enough, to never have a downtime on our lightning bolts. And then I just threw in these 2 for a little bit more skill critical hit damage, so that when it does crit, which our crit is pretty low on this build, we get decent damage anyway. But what that gets us to is 12,000 HP, 51,000 defense. And if we look at our stats here, let me find it. See, our critical hit rate really suffers, but we don't lose a lot on skill critical hit damage. So, I mean, that's what we were going for, as you can see from my other build to this one. That's how much more HP you get. But we'll summon in And if you haven't run Bunny, Bunny really isn't great for bossing. I mean, she's good, don't get me wrong, but she is not by no means the best that there is. But I find for Obstructor and Molten Fortress, she is probably one of the best. I mean, other than like Glay on Molten Fortress. And I find that electric really suffers on enemies that, like, these are weak to electric, these are not. And you'll notice a 50% decrease in your damage output from an enemy that's not weak to electric. It really suffers on resistances. Well, like I said, I mean, this one, we was just going for range. As you can see, we can hit him from all the way out here. And we're still critting for, 1.2 million. When it does crit, we just don't get, or 1.36 million, we just don't get as many crits. But that's it. Like, I'm not going to demonstrate it in the boss fight just because I don't feel comfortable displaying other people's online names as little as possible. But this is it. It does work, and like I said, I don't have a range on mine. I just run this almost all the time for skill critical hit damage and electric skill power boost. This like all around general play works for basically everything you're doing. Would be better with an attack versus Colossus if you were going strictly for bossing, but I kind of like this one just because it functions for everything that I want to do with Bunny. And as far as accessories, I've used the same ones forever, just double HP roll. On this one, I like to run defense and just a max MP. I do kind of like shield out of combat just because when I'm not engaged on the boss, my shield recovers almost instantly. But, whatever, personal choice here, whatever you want. I do like double defense here because it's the most bang for your buck, and then whatever substat. I've only got firearm gain proficiency on this one. I just use it for leveling up my weapons. And this one I like defense and max shield, but you could exchange this for an HP and a max shield if you really wanted to, you know what I mean? And it would be fine. You would just, gain a little, lose a little. That's basically it. I thought I'd share that because, like I said, I struggled really hard with Molten Fortress just because we could never get him past his immunity phase. And as soon as I swapped to this, now it does depend on team. Like I said, it's required that you have to do it multiplayer. So it depends on if the teams are good at changing the towers over. But with this, you can about guarantee that you can cover 2 towers pretty easily, and they will not get reset. And if the other ones can do the rest, then it makes the immunity phase pretty easy. And I chunked mid-air maneuvering on here. You can really use whatever you want, but I kind of like this because when you're at one tower and you see the other one fixing to be attacked, you can just mid-air grapple over there to it, vaporize the orbs, turn around, run back. It just makes you a lot more maneuverable during that particular phase. All right, and I'll go over to other. Now, I will say Bunny is great for Obstructor also, which is required multiplayer, but if you haven't done hard mode Obstructor, which most people probably have, if he absorbs, and when it goes into his immunity phase, if he absorbs too many of the orbs that are flying towards him, he does a, basically game over wipe of the squad. But with Bunny and this high voltage mod, you can do the same. All you have to do is just run under the orbs. You just vaporize them before they ever get to the boss, and everyone else can focus on breaking the part of him that needs to be broke to break him out of his immunity phase. And for that one, I find that he doesn't hit nearly as hard as Molten Fortress, so I just swap over to, and this is my basically for everything except for leveling up build. This is this will allow you to run any intercept battle, any of the new timed ones, I forget what they're called, for the Haley farm, and get gold on them almost every time with ease. This build is just all around the best Bunny build that I have found. And it's basically the same other than we're still running high voltage. I prefer long distance maneuvering on this just because it increases your speed a bit more. You get 2 charges instead of 1 like with mid-air maneuvering. And overall, it just makes her feel a lot more maneuverable. But still, singular specialist, electric specialist, that's our 2 damage mods. And then we still run 1 duration for 100% uptime. We still run 1 skill expansion because I find 92% it works for me. And like I said, if you could roll it on your reactor, you could get a little more. But it feels about perfect for me. I don't need to be able to run in one circle and wipe out the whole area. I kind of like playing the game a little bit. And the rest is just your basic. Of course, we have defense and HP always. And then the other is just your 4 crit mods. Skill insight, skill concentration, emergency measures, and front lines for as much skill critical hit rate and damage as you can run on Bunny. And what that gets us up to is a 30.77 critical hit rate with a 4.391 multiplier on that. And basically what that equates to, and there went the phone beeping, is, let me get on the crit here. Yeah, we hit for 1.58 million, and we're supposed to do it 30% of the time. I said you got a little less HP, but you still got 7,300 HP with 51,000 defense, and I mean everything else just stays the same. But yeah, this is my all-around for if I want to clear something quickly. This is the build I run because it will clear anything as fast as possible. And on the other one, I show them, I meant to do this just for a Molten Fortress build, but I mean, I'll just show the other one. And as far as for mobbing, all I do is I just drop 2 crit mods and throw in HP collector, and I do this simply for the leveling up. I drop off the high voltage mod because I like the wave better, and then I usually just run the sterile lands, block Kuiper mining, you know, and with this you can easily wipe out everything. You can go through level 10. I've even soloed level 10 all areas by myself with ease with this. Just with HP collector, getting 9% of your health back every 2 seconds per kill. You're basically unkillable as long as you're moving with Bunny. And I also swapped out the one for the focus on electric. You lose a little bit of damage, but that 6.1% skill cooldown is just enough that you've got like right at a second of downtime on your wave between the duration and the cooldown on it. So, and of course, still running duration up, but yeah, I mean that's the only thing it changes. But that's just my specifically for leveling up, or if I'm doing just, you know, mobbing for some Kuiper or something. That's the mobbing build. But anyway, that's it. Like I said, there's a Blue Million Bunny builds out there, but I just made this one specifically for Molten Fortress. Like I said, it made the fight feel way easier. I mean, like, you'll see if you decide to build it and run it, it's well worth it. I forgot to show it, but I did have to do a little recatalyzing on it because, as you can see on this, I have catalyzed these a couple times, but what you'll wind up with is you'll have to recatalyze 2 to do this. You'll need another C slot, and you'll need another R slot from this build to that build. So you might be able to do it to where you don't have to recatalyze. I'm not 100%. I just had already had this build together, and then I was going through different things trying to beat Molten Fortress, and this is what I came upon, and so I had to recatalyze. But I mean, that's it for the build. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave in the comments. If you want to see more, drop a sub. As always, thanks for watching.